You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Is up, everyone? This is Paul Apostolakis. We've got Mr. Tom Lauer. We are Inside Real Estate. Thank you for tuning in this week. We have a very, very special guest this week. Mr. Mat Ishbia is going to be coming on. This is our 200th episode, Mr. Tom Lauer.
200
episodes.
That's significant, Paul.
That's it's a lot of episodes.
A lot of consistency.
Yeah, a lot of consistent action.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Tom. I appreciate that. And to celebrate, we've got a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Mr. Mat Ishbia. So without wasting too much time, I want to bring him on so we could ask him a lot of questions. But first and foremost, for all those of you that have found us, thank you for tuning in. Those of you that are new, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any new episodes as we do this show weekly. And then again, thank you for all those that have been supporting the show throughout the 200 episodes. It's been a wild ride, but we do appreciate it. But without further ado, Mr. Mat Ishbia, thank you again for coming on the show. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be here with you guys. 200 episodes, that's pretty good. Consistent. It's hard to do that for a long time. Great job.
Yeah, it took years to be honest with you. If you really think about it, right? If we do one a week, you miss a few weeks here and there because of the holidays. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. But I think we're the number one podcast in Metro Detroit.
That is true,
just by numbers. So I like that.
Awesome.
So Matt, how have you been, sir, since the last time we had you on the show?
Doing great. Yeah. Business is good. Life's good. Glad to be here with you guys talking about the mortgage market, the real estate market. There's a lot of interesting things going on in the world, so it's fun to talk, and appreciate you guys having me here.
Yeah, for sure. One of the biggest things that's happened since the last time we talked, Matt, is rates have increased or doubled really from probably the last time we talked. So I wanted to start off by asking you, like, what does this new market mean to you and UWM, and how are you guys navigating it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Rates always go up, they go down. People, but the speed in which they moved up from the 2.5 to 3 range to the 5.5 range
right,
has been phenomenal. And so that's really shaken the mortgage business in a couple different ways. However, for UWM, it's just like you guys, you guys are in the purchase side of the world, right? A lot of companies rely only on refinancing, and refinancing, I won't say is dead, but it's extremely, extremely slow. And for purchases, the market is still very strong. Now, rates going up affects affordability. That's why you need to get great real estate agents, great mortgage people around you to help. But for UWM, we're doing really well at our company. Continue to gain market share, continue to help more and more brokers, more and more real estate agents, more and more consumers succeed. And so we're proud of what we're doing and excited to keep that momentum going in the third quarter and beyond.
Yeah, speaking of that, so you guys came out with game on pricing. You guys got really sharp on your pricing. Really, when you compare what the broker can do, Tom, and compared to like the retail side of the business, our pricing is just phenomenal compared to the rest of the market. How were you able to do that, really, Matt? And what's your strategy there?
Well, the strategy is this. We know mortgage brokers, like Range Lending and other mortgage. It's the best way to get a mortgage for a consumer. It's cheaper, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We also know it's faster and easier with the technology and things that you guys do on your side and also on the real estate side. And so how do we couple that all together? And the way with the game on pricing was basically this. Listen, let's make sure that there are no questions, that it's not even close. It used to be like, if you go to a retail lender, which, these big, banks or big retail lenders, you see commercial, you get a rate like 6%, and you get it at 5.75 at a mortgage broker. We said, let's separate everyone. And we can do that because of our scale. I got 8,000 great people here working hard every day. Our technology, our cost to originate is lower. And so basically we are able to pass that through all to our broker partners, real estate agent partners that you guys are doing, and basically give the consumers a better deal. So basically change the game in perspective. That's why we call it game on, which is, hey, it's time to compete. Let's give our partners the leg up. And so it's been great. It's been a huge success. We're helping a lot of people win and helping a lot of consumers get homes at maybe a little better prices than they could have before.
That's awesome.
Yeah, UWM is now a Cadillac at a Chevrolet price.
I
love it. The value is just It's strong.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. So, Matt, when we're talking about game on pricing and all the things that UWM does and the broker community and what the brokers can do, I still come across a lot of real estate agents that maybe don't understand that. Real estate agents in general don't understand a lot of times what the difference is between a broker who's got the pricing, who's got all the tools, who have all the technology, compared to a direct lender or some of these other banks that don't have the same kind of bandwidth or ability to do what UWM and some of these other wholesale lenders are doing. What should the real estate agent be looking for, and how do we communicate that to them?
Well, I think that's a big thing is that the way I say it, and Tom could probably speak to this better than I. Like the real estate agents have to level up their thinking. If you're not closing loans or getting cleared in 15, 20 days, you're not working with the right person, right? And so I think I just spoke at a real estate conference the other day, and it's like these people are so comfortable. Oh, 45 day. Nothing can get done faster than 45. Are you crazy? Like you're just talking to the wrong people. Go to findamortgagebroker.com. Go to Range. Like there's people out there that are doing loans fast. And if they're not, level up. Find someone that just like if they're not doing a good job for you, you got to find someone. Just like if you're not doing a good job for them, they're going to look for someone else. I think sometimes people just kind of accept because they don't know any better. And these retail lenders, these big banks, like how do you know who the brokers are? If they're not closing loans in 15 to 20 days consistently, like, hey, you're clear to close, you're ready to go 15, 20 days, then you got to find someone else. And there's findamortgagebroker.com is a website to find only true brokers. But the reality is you got to find the great one. And there are a lot of great ones, just like there's great real estate agents. But if a real estate agent doesn't call you back and doesn't show you houses when you and your family want to go look, you find another one. Same thing. Real estate agents got to find a different loan officer if they're not closing loans fast. Nobody wants a mortgage. They want the house. So let's make the mortgage process fast, easy, and affordable. And mortgage brokers do that.
And something else we found with UWM is just the focus on not over conditioning, I think is different than you find at other, wholesalers. Yeah. Because even though someone else could have a fast process, the technology isn't as good. And then those conditions come out and it's just like, well, I've got 13 more conditions than I would on a typical UWM loan.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but it is.
Yeah, man.
It's two things. So I'll tell you why. So one, the way you just hit on, Tom, is the client experience is everything. People aren't going to remember the rate or the house. They're going to the price on the house. They're going to remember how you made them feel and how the process was. Was it a pain? 13 conditions on a file. It's like it's a mess, right? So how do we are using technology on the back end, partnered with brokers like Range Lending and other mortgage brokers. We use technology in the back end, so we can get pay stubs, we can get W-2s, we can get your assets, we can verify things without having to go to the consumer and having them chase down things, look up their tax returns. And so the process has to be fast and easy. Nobody's ever said let's make this process slower and more complicated. Never happened, right? So fast and easy is the key. And so that's really been the like what you said, Tom, is pricing is great, but if you don't make the process fast and easy for the consumer, they're going to be pissed off and annoyed, and they're they don't want to work with you. And so we really focus on that. And I think that's the differentiator, but you don't realize it till you're in it. And that's why working with real estate agents that understand mortgage brokers and mortgage brokers understand great real estate partners, it's a team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with a lot of the new changes, the rates going up, one of the things that we've seen is a lot of layoffs in the industry, right? You've seen companies like Quicken, better rate, whatever it was. A lot of these companies are cutting personnel. UWM has not done that that I know of up until now. Is that by design? What is your outlook on that? Are there layoffs coming in the future, you think, or are you still very big on having the team that you have?
Yeah, never layoffs at UWM. I've been here 19 years. The company's been in business 36. We're never laying people off. I understand the market. So two things you got to think of. One, because of our technology and our great people, we didn't have to scale up and go from 7,000 to 20,000 people to handle the volume the last 2 years, and then bring it back down to 7, 8, 9,000, right? And so that's one thing. Second is that's not what you do to people. That's not what you do to families. So seeing Loan Depot and Rocket and Better.com laying people off, it's the wrong thing to do. And it's one thing if your company's spiraling out of control and going out of business, like Better, and maybe even Loan Depot, but Rocket, they're making money and they're laying people off. That's not right to do to people. Like the company makes $500 million or $1 billion in the quarter, and we're going to cut some $50,000 a year jobs, hurt people. Why would you do that? So I've been very public with that. I understand the market. I understand that layoffs are part of industries, but layoffs are part of industries and part of businesses if you only care about profits. I'm not saying layoffs never could happen at companies. It will never happen at UWM because I'm the CEO and I control that. However, I understand that sometimes that has to happen, but it's the wrong thing to do. And too many companies go out of their way to, we hire them and then we fire them. And you know how many people have left my company and went to one of these other companies, then get laid off. They call them back like, I can't believe I left. And you know, we hire a lot of them back because I feel bad, but it's something I can't hire everyone back, right? And people are making the wrong decision. So long term, you got to think about long term. And I hate layoffs. If people work hard and have a great attitude, you got a lifetime job here at UWM, a family company. And so I think too many companies focus on profits over people rather than people over profits.
Well, and you guys focus so much on recruiting, right? I mean, gosh, drive around Metro in Detroit, you're going to see a billboard to come work at UWM.
Absolutely.
Great marketing, by the way. I love those billboards. Whoever did that campaign was spot on.
Yeah.
But yeah, you spend so much money bringing those people in, and we see a little fluctuation in the market, and then you just get rid of all these people. You just spent all this money to hire,
Right.
It's crazy. But that's the industry.
Your culture too, right? Like the same time, like you hire the people and then you just let them go for not doing anything wrong. Like if someone doesn't show up on time, people aren't working hard. Like that's a different story. That's not layoffs. That's letting people go for not performing. But I agree with you, Tom, completely. And that's how we believe, Paul. That's how we've been for years here. And I'm vocal, and as a public company CEO, people think I'm not supposed to say that. I'm gonna tell you how I always feel and how we're gonna do things, and we're gonna always execute with our people first.
Yeah. So now, I feel like the competition in our space, you're gaining market share, but as you grow, it's going to get harder and harder to gain market share because you're gaining so much of it. But it seems to me that the competition in our market, it's getting kind of chippy out there. You know what I mean? So as far as UWM goes, is there anything else other than game on pricing, the technology? Is there anything else that's coming down the pike for you guys that is going to be a game changer, or are you guys just like really good with where you're at?
Well, both. So I'm really good with where we're at, but I'm never satisfied and never relaxed mentality. We have a lot of things coming. And so, yeah, I know it's getting chippy out there. People are starting to struggle. Mortgage companies are out there struggling. Yeah. And so, you got to align with partners, right? Whether you're a broker, you got to align with the real estate agents that are partners that will help you. You help them. Real estate agents got to find brokers that can help them succeed. Like everyone's got to, team up, if you think of it that way, with people. And so I see it out there. We got some more stuff coming. That I think will be differentiating, that will help independent mortgage brokers, real estate agents succeed and excel and not just survive, but thrive in this market. And so, yeah, we're not relaxing. I got more things up my sleeve with our team. We're working on with our great tech team to help people. And we're going to disrupt, but disrupt in the focus with the consumer, the real estate agent, the broker, like helping people win. That's disruption, not disrupt just to disrupt. I'm not trying to upset people but I'm only out there trying to help people win. And if my partners win, that's my job. And if I can help them succeed, then we'll succeed too.
So, man, I have a question about that. It's and this might be a tough one because I haven't seen it very often, but as a broker, we take care of our past clients quite often, and there is a situation now where people are feeling the crunch. They would like to pull some cash out, but we got them a 15-year at 2.5%. We're not going to touch that. Do you see UWM doing anything to help people access their equity without having to do a full refi? Do you see any HELOCs or seconds coming down the pipe?
Absolutely. Great question. Yeah, that's coming for sure. Right. So I would say by the end of the quarter, or maybe early fourth quarter, but in the next 60 days, 90 days tops, we will have something out there to help people with that. Right. And the reality is it's what's best for the consumer, right? How can we help the consumer have, you don't want to tell someone, oh, you got a 2.5% 30-year fix. Hey, you have 40 grand in equity. Can I go tap it? Or I have a 200,000 in equity. Can I go take it out? Now you're at a 5.5% fixed. Right, that's not best for them.
And that's not doing the right thing, but that's how a lot of people that are pigeonholed to just having one loan, a first lien product. That's how they're selling, right? Because they're hurting, they need it, so they're going to try to convince somebody that it does make sense to get rid of that 2.5 30-year fix when it really doesn't.
Not in certain situations you have to. I think I think if you've got a lot of debt, you're carrying debt, and you've got a blended rate that's much higher than what your rate is. But that's, I think, to Matt's point, I think refinances have really slowed down a lot, and I don't see that being a viable option for consumers.
And I agree that refis have slowed down, but aren't you feeling like the demand for people to take a little cash out right now is growing? Yeah,
and Matt, you could speak on this. I mean, the amount of equity we've gained across the country is massive. You know what I mean? I mean, people have equity in their houses. But in your opinion, though, what does that do for the market? If it's sitting there and we can't really access it, what does it really do for people? You know, it's kind of like fake money.
Yeah, well, that's the reality, is that the values of houses have gone up a lot. There's a lot of equity, but you're in a mortgage, you don't want to make a change in, which makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I think there's certain situations cash out makes sense, but the reality is cash out at 5.5% or 6% when I have a 2.5% mortgage is probably not a great fit. There's some situations you can do it. When rates were 3.5 or 4, cash out, you going up a little bit makes a lot more sense. But the reality about the home equity line of credit or a second loan, or some people are calling them HE loans, you know, there's some things out there. We're going to have something there for our clients and our partners, because we want to make sure that the people know their mortgage partner is the broker, is Range Lending, and not to go to some credit union or some bank that might not be able to be the right place for them for the long term. And so all your financing need to go to the mortgage broker. We see that home equity lines or second loans or HE loans are a priority. And like I said, no more than 60 to 90 days until we get that out for everybody to have an option. And then once we get it out, we'll make it better. We'll get better options, better price.
Wow.
And we'll
continue to make it better. News. That is big news. I'm super happy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for dropping
Don't tell anybody. Nobody knows about it yet. So keep it between the three of us.
Yeah.
Fair.
Very, very, very fair. You know, Matt, a lot of people are talking about the implosion of the housing market. You see headlines. There's, people, obviously reporters want to have these headlines, but clicks. But at the end of the day, what is your outlook on the housing market? Are we going into a huge correction? Are we in a situation where we've already corrected? I guess in your mind, where do you see the housing market going over the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, so a couple things. One, for sure, we're not in the 2007-8, like, oh, the equity of the values are going to go down by 30%. Like, that was built on a foundation of a broken mortgage process, mortgage world. That is not the world anymore. I'm 100% sure of that. So you could take that to the bank. Now, on the second part to the question, which is what will values do? The reality is, if you look over 30 years, values go up 1 to 4% a year. That's like what they do. They don't go up 15% a year. And so this world that it's like, hey, values aren't going up. Like, yeah, they're not going to. That was an anomaly, And so here's what I'll say. If you're trying to time the market, you're not, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not the right way of thinking about it. So people ask me all the time, should I buy now or should I wait? Well, I said, hey, you want to buy a $400,000 house? Should you wait? The house isn't going to be worth $370 or $350 in a year. Like, don't think like that. It's going to be worth $405 or $402, or let's say Matt's wrong and it's worth $396. Okay, like, are you really going to wait for that? If you're trying to time the market and flip houses, this might be a little tougher market because the values aren't going up as quick. But if you're going to buy a house and going to be there and hold the house for more than 2 years, 100% you buy now, right? I had a friend of mine, and I told this story recently, that about 8-9 months ago, was like, oh, we're going to hold because I think housing values are going up so fast. And he called me this 2 weeks ago and said, hey, we didn't buy, me and my wife didn't buy, and values are kind of about the same. So we did a good thing. I'm like, yeah, but rates are double. So you're paying $400 more a month. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop trying to, you're an IT guy. You're not a financial guy. Stop trying to time the market. Just trust the real estate professionals. Like, go get the house that you and your kids and your wife will take pictures in the rest of your life. Stop trying to say 396 versus 402. Like, come on. Like, the values aren't crashing. This isn't 2008. I guarantee you that. What will happen is it won't go up as fast. Buy houses, talk to great real estate agents, mortgage people. Let's make this happen.
Right. And I think we're entering a more of a healthy market, to be honest with you. I think the market was a little unhealthy. I mean, as a first-time home buyer, Matt, it was very difficult to win offers in our area, all across the country. So in my opinion, I think that we're entering a much healthier environment where we're not seeing 20% gains in the housing market, and we're not at 3% rates, but this is a much more normal market, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah, a lot of the first-time homebuyers were boxed out because these investors are coming and buying houses saying houses are going up 10, 15% a year. I'll rent it out above market anyways. And I can get mortgage or rates, where they're borrowing money so cheap as Fed rates. These investment companies that are doing so. Yes, the market where there used to be, and Tom can speak to it probably better than I can, but used to see a house gets listed and within 2 weeks you get 8 offers, 5 are over sales price. Now it's maybe you get 4 offers and 2 over sales price. And maybe it'll get back to normal where you get 2 offers and 1 at price, 1 a little below. And the world starts to get a little bit more normalized, which is good for the normal average people to get houses.
Yeah. We're just transitioning. Everything's a cycle. People freak out, but when you just look backwards a little bit, everything cycles. And we're just in the cycle process where we're going from a strong seller's market back to a buyer's market. And that's okay. That's all right. Oh, and by the way, 6% is not a bad rate on a mortgage.
No, not historically.
That's just not. We got so used to 3s, 4s that people think, oh my God, 6 so high. 6 is not high. I think if you look at the last 50 years, 6 is actually probably on the lower end of the average. So, it's just a little bit back to normal, but people are freaking out because they were used to abnormal.
Right.
Yeah. It's a great point, Tom. And you see what you just had 6 months ago, like, oh, it's so bad. The rates are so high. 2 things. One is in historical terms, like you pointed out, Tom and Paul, it's not high. And second is if you partner with a rate mortgage person, if rates drop from 6 to 5 or 6 to 4, then you refinance, and it's simple. If you make it's not like this. Oh my goodness, I saw some things buy the house or marry the house, date the rate or whatever it was. Rates could go up higher, by the way. So 5.5, 6 might look great, but the reality is, get the house, get the dream for your family. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and with my clients, it's really easy because they'll get a nice email from me, from UWM, when they are in a position to refi. So people don't realize we are watching out for them. We are looking at rates versus where they're at. I don't think people really realize that, but that's what a good mortgage broker does for you versus a transaction with a big lender.
I was going to ask Matt that. Matt, if you were to define a good mortgage broker in today's market, what do they have to do to be ahead of the curve in today's market? What should they be thinking about? How should they treat their clients and their real estate agents if you want to be on top of your game?
Well, it's all about the client experience. So what defines a great mortgage broker is, one, a happy consumer. Consumers are happy with a fast and easy process. They want it simple. Nobody wants complex. So you got to and so communication is key and making it simple. And on the real estate side, a good mortgage broker is a partner, someone that helps them, right? If I talk to real estate agents and it's like, oh, this loan officer calls me and says, do you have any loans for them? Instead of saying, hey, how's your business? Can I come to your open house? Can I add value to your potential clients? Like helping each other succeed. So a good mortgage broker, one, makes the process fast and easy. And they do that by being educated and being confident and communicating what's going on and giving options as in, hey, do you want a fixed rate? Do you want an ARM? Or, hey, by the way, 30-year fix, or I could do a 28-year fix or I can customize or like being educated. But then on the same time, to be a good mortgage broker, you got to be a great partner to your real estate partners, helping them grow and succeed. And so I think that's the key. But nobody wants a mortgage. Like I always tell people, we sell a product that nobody wants. They want the house. They want the savings. So if they want, if they're getting something you don't want, don't make it a pain. Make it fast, easy, and affordable.
Why are other companies not as fast and not as efficient as UWM? Because it seems like the disparity between, and I'm just saying this from experience, the disparity between what UWM is doing and a lot of other wholesale lenders or even retail lenders or banks, it's grown a lot over the years and it continues to grow, but it seems like other companies just aren't catching up.
Before Matt answers it, from as a client, like as a broker, I think it's technology and I think it's people. Like that's where UWM beats the other ones. Right. It's just the process is so much better.
It is.
And I'm guessing, Matt, that's technology, right? That's what
you hit it, Tom. You got it. It's so 2 parts. It's one, technology, right? People don't invest in technology because there's so mortgage business, people don't usually spend money in technology. Always using vendors. We bet on ourselves and bet on our technology. 1,200 great technology. We build stuff all day from scratch to make it great. But great technology only gets you so far if you don't have people that care. You said people, like I got great people. I got almost 8,000 people here that care about the clients, care about consumers. And with great technology and great people, you can make the process really efficient. And most people don't really invest. Back to what I pointed earlier, you lay people off, you're not going to get people that care that much, right? And if you're always focused on profits, and you're not going to actually get much great technology because you're not going to build it yourself, because it's much cheaper to use some vendor, right? So how do you care about your clients and care about your people, take care of them, and then invest in technology? You hit them both. Tom, I don't even need to be on the show. You got
it. Can I ask you a question? Because your culture is probably what's most impressive to me about your company. And you know, I'm a longtime Michigan State fan. I actually watched you win the national championship. I was in the building.
Awesome.
So, you know, I'm sure some of that comes from basketball and Coach Izzo and who you were raised by, but what is it about your culture? Are there any like strong tenets that you have that have created that culture you have? Like what's the secret sauce?
Yeah, so I could spend, hours on this, wrote a book on just that. Like I could spend, but in a succinct way of thinking about it, our UWM's culture, and I just used the word, so I'm going to keep using the word care. When you care about people, they're going to care about each other and care about you back and the business. And so the word care, how do you make people care? Like someone's like, how do I make people think I care about them? I'm like, you can't make them think you care about it. You actually got to care about them. You got to walk up and actually know that Paul Apostolakis and know about know their family and know that John over here likes the Red Wings, and the Red Wings are, give them 2 tickets to a game. And hey, when someone's going through a tough time, you show up at the funeral, you show up at their family, you send out a nice note, you send them you can't make it up. It's not like people are like, oh, you got, slides and basketball courts and doctors of. That's all lipstick on a pig if you still have a pig. You got to create the thing where you care about people. You show people you care. You find out what their goals are. And so our culture is about caring and helping create opportunity. So, like any business, so I'll give you like my perspective of business 101 is dominate the client experience. The clients for me are my brokers, right? And my team members. And so everything is about like, what do team members want? They want opportunity to grow. Okay, promote from within. Don't go hire some VP from out. Promote. They all care about their families, their kids. Work-life balance matters. And so if you show people you care about them, you're going to have a great culture, because that, and at the same time, doing the right thing all the time, right? Like it's easy to focus on, do the right thing when things are going great. That's called a front runner, but we do the right thing when times are tough. We don't lay people off like, oh, it sounds great to say culture matters, but when times are tough, like, oh, let's let people go because we want to save a couple of bucks. That's not how you do things. And so I learned a lot of that from Tom Izzo. I learned a lot from my father, my mother, like my family, and from the team members here. The one last thing I'll say about this stuff, about people and culture and team, is that you have to make sure that not only people know that you care about them, but that you create the opportunity and the role that they care about each other, and that this is a family environment. And you can't say the word family when you lay people off. You can't say the word family when you don't show up at a funeral. You can't say the word family when it's their birthday and you don't recognize it. You can't say those things. You have to live it. Tom Izzo always said something about life and about basketball. He's like, I like players that like basketball, and then some people look for people that love basketball. I want people that live basketball. And for me, I want people that live the culture. I live this. I live it every day. I don't just love it. I don't like it. I live it every day. And that's how you got to take care of people. And it happens over time. You got to do it over and over, day in and day out. Invest in the culture, and good things will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak firsthand to that. I remember, Matt, you walking around the floor daily, right? Like I knew around like 5 o'clock or 5:30, Matt might be done with his work. I know Matt's walking the floor, and I know Matt's going to underwriting and sitting with his underwriters and understanding what they're doing. How important, now that you've gotten, like you said, you have 8,000 team members. The challenge, I think, for you as the leader of that is touching all those people and being in tune with people's jobs. I mean, it's difficult to do that. So how does someone that's in your position now with so many responsibilities and so many lives under your belt, really, I mean, these are people's lives that are coming every day to work and give to UWM, and UWM is always giving back. How do you keep that going, keep that culture strong? Because as you get bigger, it's harder.
Yeah, it gets hard, but if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? So you have to be very intentional. So Paul, you're right. Every Thursday I have no meetings. I won't have a meeting on a Thursday. I won't do a podcast, and I walk the floor. And I don't go talk to my chief operating officer and my, head of sales and head of marketing.
Right.
I go talk to the people that actually do the job, and I walk up to them and see how they're doing. Find out about, who's this? Is your son right here on the pic? I'll get a picture of their son. I do all the little things because it matters. And when I do them, my leaders do them as well. And I coach people on holding people accountable. I hold my leaders accountable to doing those little things. And later today, I'm shadowing an underwriter. Like I'm going to sit there and see how they do everything. And I'm like, that's a stupid process. Like, I got to fix that. I can't believe we make you do that. Like, let me call the IT leader. Like, I'm in the weeds of the business. I'm not just asking my leader of leaders, the top right. people stuff. And so you have to be intentional about it. And so, my assistants, they go out of their way to like schedule my day that way. And we go out and say, okay, I'm going to go spend 15 minutes with people. I'm going to go walk over to the South building and spend time here, have a shadow there. Like, you got to be in the weeds of your business. And if you don't care about the details, you won't win. You won't win. And so every one of those things matter. And each person in their lives matter. People don't care about, nobody cares about, no one's going to remember how many mortgage we did to UWM. UWM is the number one wholesaler in the country. UWM is the number one mortgage company in the country. No one's going to remember Matt that way. They remember how I made them feel, how I went out of the way to care about them. And that's the culture. And as soon as I stop believing that and stop living that, it will start to, disintegrate, if that's the right way to think of it. And so that won't change because I'm here every day and I care about every detail. And so do my great leaders.
That's awesome, man. Switching topics a little bit. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs that listen to this show. There's a lot of real estate agents that are entrepreneurs in my mind because they're building their business every single day. Loan officers are building their business every day. So there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in our industry. And sometimes, I hear diversify, have multiple streams of income. There's always shiny objects that you kind of want to gravitate towards. What do you see? What advice would you give a young entrepreneur that might be looking at, I've got this opportunity, I've got that opportunity, I've got this opportunity. How do you look at that? And should an entrepreneur take all these opportunities, or should they be more singularly focused?
Great stuff. So three answers to this question. First, right? Singular focus. I'm going to talk about that in a minute and why I think that's a differentiator and how we've done so great here at UWM. Dominating one thing, right? Second thing that all entrepreneurs struggle with, I struggled when I was younger, I'm still young, but not as young, is resources. Using your resources and partners. You don't have to go at it alone. And then the third thing I'll talk about, and I can kind of go back to each of these, is you get 24 hours a day. You got to outwork everybody. It ain't easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. You're going to have to outwork everybody consistently every day. This is your 200th episode. This isn't like the first podcast you did to be the best. You got to be consistent. And no one knew who you were on your 9th episode or your 38th episode or your 74th episode. It continues to grow. And so all three of those in order, one singular focus. I see it all the time. Okay, I own a mortgage company. I got to do title. I got to do appraisal. I got to figure out how I can do insurance. How about you dominate the mortgage and real estate world? Dominate that. It's such a big market. I'm going to start selling chairs. I got to sell desks and tables. Be the best chair guy in the world, excuse my language. That's how I tell these young kids, stop it. Stop thinking like that. Just dominate. It's not if you what I tell people is when I hit the ceiling of the market, then I got to diversify. But man, the chair market, the water bottle market, the mortgage real estate market, the ceiling is huge. So you don't have to be great at everything. Be the best at one thing, and you will have a significant success financially and happiness wise. That's first. Second, we talked about the second piece, which is really important. Understanding that thinking about your work ethic and your drive. Actually, that's the third piece. Whatever you give I'll go back to the second one in a minute. The work ethic and the hours in a day. You get 24 hours. Are you going to outwork everyone? Are you going to get how are you going to do that? How are you going to put in more time and more effort to be great? Because everyone wants money. Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to run a good mortgage real estate company or chair company or, whatever it is. But you have to put in more time. You get 24 hours, no matter how much money I have or you have, you can't get more time. Dominate your 24 hours. And then the second one, because I skipped it, was resources. This is maybe the biggest one of all because both those other ones are a little more obvious. But the resources, people are afraid to ask for help. I love being on your podcast, Paul. You invite me, hopefully it helps in some way. Do you go out of your way, real estate, help the mortgage guy, ask the title person for help, right? Ask for use your resources. Paul, you notice, we train people all the time here. People are afraid to ask for help. Be proactive. Use your resources. Be a teammate. And that's the word I would always say is be a teammate. Help someone else, and they will help you too. Use your resources to be a teammate. So those are the three things I would think about.
Yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurs kind of miss that, leveraging and delegating the things that you can delegate and leverage from other people, working in teams, working in tandem. I think working in a silo and trying to do everything on your own is just a long road if you try to do that, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, work on a team, but the team has to have different parts, right? You got a point guard, you got a forward. They all do different things. They all have singular focuses.
Yep.
But as a group, we have a collective goal of winning, right?
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. Matt, I know that you recently, just a little off topic, but recently with all your success, obviously, none of it is by mistake. I know that you're a big sports guy. I know that in the news, it was reported that you were bidding on the Broncos. Was that true? And if it was, how was that process?
Yeah, so that was true. And so, I'm very passionate about sports. If you ask me what I'm going to be doing in the next 10, 20 years, it's going to be dominating at UWM. As my kids get a little bit older, I'm still spending all of my time with my kids, and I'm going to own a sports team, whether it's an NBA or NFL team. And the Denver Broncos was publicized, and I kept myself out of the media until I think someone snapped a picture or something when I was in Denver on my visit out there. But, it got out there. I am publicly said I will buy a sports team at some point. I didn't get the Broncos. I was quite close, but I will get another team. And I will, and it's a goal of mine, and I will achieve that goal. And whether it happens in 1 year, 1 month, or in 5 years, that's one thing we will do. But at the same time, that doesn't take my focus off of this, because I love this.
No.
That's that's like kind of a side thing and something to go enjoy on the weekends. But I'm going to dominate in the mortgage business because I love this every single day and I live it. But I will own a sports team, and I'm excited about a couple opportunities. The local ones aren't for sale. Can't buy something that's not for sale. That's a question I get all the time. So, and I hopefully the Fords and the Gores and the Illiches, they keep doing great things here in Detroit. But I'll buy one outside of the state most likely.
Got it.
So what's the mind? I've always, it's not often you get to talk to people like you. So what's the mindset of how your business plays into that franchise, right? From obviously there's the branding, but how does Matt owning the Denver Broncos help UWM?
Doesn't help at all. So I don't even think about it at all.
Okay.
Like I don't focus on profits. People are asking when I'm looking at the process, and I won't go into too many details. Like, oh, you can raise ticket prices, do this stuff to make money. I'm like, I'm not doing any of that stuff. When I own a sports team, we're going to do the same thing we did at UW, and we're going to win. We're going to have fun. And winning's not just championships. It's impact on the community, helping the kids. There's not going to be an upper deck seat where you don't have a kid from the local elementary school that we'll buy him a hot dog and a ticket and do like impact. I have an impact on 8,000 team members here, along with about 40,000 brokers. And then you think about hundreds of thousands of real estate agents. That's like my impact I could reach, and maybe consumers as well. But a sports franchise, I can impact millions of people in that. And that's what I'm focused on. And so I'm not thinking about, it's going to help UWM and how do you make money on a sports franchise? Let's go win. Let's go impact kids, community, make a great impact around in the metro area, wherever the city is. And at the same time, let's try to make an impact on the people that work at that company, the team members of the Broncos in that example, or that work at the company, along with win championships or compete for championships. I love it. And so that's what we're going to be doing. It's got no benefit to UWM. I might have been thinking like that. It's just a separate fun thing. But we're going to have the same mentality.
Awesome franchise. I was at a game there last year. It was sunny. It was beautiful. And, we're used to going to games in Detroit at the Lions. It's man, what a different feel. Yeah. That stadium was just shaking. Literally the place was shaking.
Where was this at?
Denver. Yeah, Denver. It's just such a beautiful spot. Their tailgate's amazing. The weather's awesome.
They have great fans.
Great fans. It was awesome.
A lot of Michigan transplants in Denver too, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude. I love that you say that, and I love that you're doing things. And when you put your mind to something, it's funny just hearing Matt say, "We will do this." There isn't ambiguity there. It's gonna happen, and this is where I'm going. And I think that's that's something that people should think about when they think about their own lives. Like I should be talking like that. You know what I mean? Like
thinking that way.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm going to do. So I think that's really poignant, Matt. And I don't think you meant to say it or make a point on it, but I think your thought process on that's very, very poignant. Matt, a lot of people compare UWM to Rocket and Loan Depot and all these other companies. How is UWM different in differentiating themselves going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't be more different from those companies, right? The reality is, Loan Depot and Rocket, whatever they do. But what we focus on is the client experience, the consumer, the broker. Like once again, these companies are so focused on profit. How do you make money? Return on investment. Instead of just going and doing the right thing. If you do the right thing, good things happen. We do the right thing by our team members, by our brokers. Someone asked me, "Oh, how do you think about why are you spending this much money on building this thing for this broker? Like, what's their return on investment?" I'm like, get out of here with that nonsense. Like, the brokers need it. It's going to help them. If I help them, they'll win. And if they win, I got a chance. And so just a different business mindset. And the same thing, whether you're talking about sports teams or mortgage, like people think about things different. Like my perspective is like, do right. Always do things the right way. Help people succeed. Help others without any expectation, any return, and you will build your business. Not, if I give you this, what am I getting back for it? I mean, Paul, you've known that. You've known me for years. Like, we're always trying to do the right thing for other people, and good things come back because that's how the world works. And, it doesn't come back the next day, but I'm focused on doing the right thing. And so the mindset, those companies, I don't consider them competitors. Like I said, you said earlier, we will be the number one overall mortgage company. That will happen. We're the number one purchase lender in the country already. We're the number one wholesale lender. We will become the number one overall. And I've said that out loud. I'll continue to say that. That will happen. Same thing with sports teams. Sports teams are a goal of mine. It's the mentality. You have to say, I'm going to make it happen, and I will work. You say big goals, and you got to work every day. It's not like, by the way, there's sports team is such an honor that the NFL or NBA would even consider me as one of the potential owners, but it's hard. Nobody wants to sell their team because it's so much fun. It's great. Like, it's an honor to even be considered, and I have to work every day towards that goal, towards the goal of being a great wholesale lender, towards the goal of being a great parent, right? Like, you have to be great, and you have to work towards it. Nothing's given, but you have to set big goals, and you work towards it every day.
That's awesome. We're nearing the end of the show, Matt. Obviously, I want to make sure that we get you back to work because we need you. We need you out there. Real quick, as the leader and the voice, a lot of times of the broker community, how should people be thinking of brokers from here going forward, and why is the broker model stronger today than it was, let's say, 5 years ago?
Well, it's just the support. Like we talked about team already on here. The brokers didn't have all the resources, the training, all the support from a technology. We built that at UWM, and other good wholesale lenders have done some great things too. The reality is this: mortgage brokers. So consumers watching us, mortgage brokers have always been cheaper, and they are cheaper right now. You will save, I think the new HMDA data, which is the government's data, came out, said brokers save the average consumer $9,400 on their mortgage. I mean, it's astronomical numbers, right? Yeah. That's fact. That's not Matt's opinion. That's fact. But in addition, now mortgage brokers can make the process simpler, faster, easier than ever before. And so if they used to be cheaper, but you didn't know who they were. Now we're starting to educate people. Now they're cheaper, you know who they are, and they're faster and easier. So like, why would you not use a mortgage? The only reason you wouldn't use a mortgage broker and why people is because you've been brainwashed, not in a negative way, by great marketing campaigns of large lenders, large banks, or your parents said, "Oh, I got my mortgage at XYZ bank." That's what you do. You call the banker. Like, that's just the wrong way of getting a mortgage. People are learning that. People are more intelligent these days, educated because of the internet and other ways to get information. Mortgage brokers are better, whether it's findamortgagebroker.com. You got to find out who's the local mortgage person that can get you a great deal, make it fast, easy, and affordable for your family. And so that's the future. The mortgage brokers will continue to grow because it's better for the consumer and it's better for loan officers. Those two things are facts, and that's going to help that channel grow.
I love that. And it's our job, I think, on the streets, getting that message out.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to clip what he just said and put that all over social because $9,400 and coming straight from HMDA data, that's a big deal. And you're right. Most people don't know that.
They don't know that. Yeah. They don't know that. Matt, what do you think about this bullshit of like some of these retail shops giving big bonuses to loan officers to come over and work at their shops, and their pricing's shit, their process is shit, but these loan officers are being drawn in by these big bonuses that they're giving out. How do you feel about that tactic in our industry?
It's been going on for years, and it's going to continue. It's a bailout. It's all about a loan officer. I take a signing bonus to go somewhere. You're basically saying, I'm taking money myself. I know, I mean, they're not dumb people. You realize that they're going to just make your pricing much worse, right? And then put that money in. So then you're basically hurting your consumers. You're basically having your consumers pay you a signing bonus up front. And the reality is it's a bailout. Usually people that take these signing bonus are on their way out. Like, let me take $100,000 to go work at this company. My rates are going to be bad for the next couple of years. I'm going to do less and less business. And then I'm going to find something else to do with my life, or I'm going to leave that. Like, it's a bailout. And so, I feel bad when I see people take those bonuses, because I know that they're putting themselves and their consumers in a bad position. But at the same time, I respect and understand that, hey, maybe they need the money. And if someone's willing to pay them, sometimes they do that. But you have to understand, though, money doesn't come from trees. It's not like they're giving you a bonus and like, we'll keep giving you great rates for your consumers. The consumer is paying that bonus. And that's why I love brokers. Brokers are independent. They're small. They're doing what's best for the consumer. That's why it's $9,400 cheaper, because they don't have to inflate their rates, because they're not doing that kind of stuff. But that's been going on for years. That will continue to go on. But if I'm a loan officer, I think to myself, I know better. And if I'm a consumer, it's like, if you're at a retail lender, like, am I paying for your bonus? Am I paying for that commercial I saw? And the answer is yes, you are. So work with a local mortgage broker.
Yeah. Awesome. Matt, we'll get to 3 questions and we'll get you out of here. They're 3 random questions that don't have to do with anything. Tom, do you have any random boys?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go.
I was ready for this one. I always do the 3 questions.
Yeah.
What was the 5 minutes after winning the national championship like? Put yourself back there.
That you just put my head back there. I remember being in the locker room after probably the 5 minutes we were still on the court celebrating, cutting the nets down, hugging. But it was so fun to be around the guys that we had been through so much to get to that 5 minutes that we're talking about right now of fun and enjoyment and bliss. Where a lot of our families came down on the floor, and knowing that Michigan State Nation, Spartan Nation, was fueling that love. Like, there's nothing, you can't replicate that 5 minutes of that feeling, on that floor. Then the 5 minutes in the locker room where it was just the guys. That was amazing feeling, and something I'll never forget.
Awesome.
Next question, Matt, what's the latest that you sleep into?
On the weekends, with my kids, if I don't have my kids, maybe 7:30. I'll try to stay in bed. I can't sleep that late, but I'll lay in bed till that. Without my kids, with my kids there, I'm usually up and trying to make things happen with them. But 7:30. I'd say 7:30.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then last question. Do you have another question, or are you good?
I'm good.
All right. One piece of advice that you'd give real estate agents for in this new market going forward.
Partnership. Realize you don't have to go at it alone. I kind of talked about entrepreneurs in general, but real estate agents should think partnership. Use your resources. People will help you grow, right? Whether it's Tom and his company, right, and do what you guys are trying to do, or a broker, or someone, like, ask for help. Like, if you want to win in this market, in any market, use your resources. People are out there to help you. Don't be afraid, and build those teams, those partnerships. I think that's the winning formula, really, for any business, but real estate agents for sure.
Matt, again, I can't thank you enough for doing the show. You've been on it multiple times, and every time we learned something. So I love that you've done our show, and for 200 episodes, you've been there for most of them. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Keep up the great work, what you guys are doing. Proud to be part of this with you guys, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Matt. Be good,
Thanks,
dude.
Matt.
We'll talk to you soon. Man, Matt's awesome.
That was great.
To take some time out of his life. That was 45 minutes of him taking time out, but he said some really poignant.
Well, he does. I think. Well, you have a relationship with him, but we're clients.
Well, I ask him,
and we're clients, right?
We're clients.
He takes care of his clients.
We're clients. If he treats like, he didn't have to do that, right? Like, but that's the way he thinks. That's he doesn't think small. This guy thinks big, but he'll do the small things to get to being big.
Well, that's what it takes, right? It's doing the small things consistently to get to the big goal.
Yeah. And then I think our job in our shoes is getting his message out. Right. Like agents should know that they should be using a broker instead of a retail person.
Yeah.
Right. The consumer should know that the broker is going to save them 10 G's over doing.
It's a great stat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of money.
When they roll out seconds, that's the thing with the second.
Oh, by the way, yeah, he dropped that little nugget on us.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was nice.
I mean, we've been looking for those as a broker.
Yeah.
And we just haven't pulled the trigger because the lenders that offer it were already scared of their process.
We're sketchy. They were sketchy as it was.
Yeah,
right?
we're sketchy as it was. But, if UWM has a product out, I have no qualms. I'm complete confidence of offering that to
the consumer,
to one of my dear clients.
Because the process is going to be right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be a good process.
Yeah.
And that product is needed right now.
With all the equity in the world, yeah,
and the low rates people are locked into already.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. All right, so that is our 200th episode, my dude.
200. Congrats.
For those of you that have
shout out to the originals.
Sal,
yeah,
Brad. They were part of that. Yeah. So for those of you that have been part of this journey, thank you for listening. If you're new to the show, thank you for listening to the show. But please like, share, subscribe, and go to your notifications and turn those on so that you don't miss an episode. But we will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Peace out.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.